These are the best custom tactics in FC 24. And after talking to pro players, coaches, and even using them in the Elite Division, I came up with the best custom tactics that will completely change your gameplay. But there's just one problem. The tactics don't work unless you're using the right players, but don't worry because I'm gonna show you those too. Starting off with the tactics, the formation is the same formation that all pro players use, the 4-3-2-1. Defensive style unbalanced. I've honestly never seen anyone do different than that. And I like to use 37 width and 67 depth. 37 width since everyone is going to try to play through the middle and I like to keep it really compact when defending. And 67 depth is key because as soon as you get over 71, the AI is going to automatically press and offside trap for you. And what if I don't want to press high? Like I'd rather just do it myself, and that is exactly why we keep it on 67. For offense, your build-up play is going to be balanced with direct passing, which is what every pro player is going to use because balanced with direct passing allows you to manually trigger your runs and not rely on the amazing AI we've seen this year, but that's a story for another time. 44 width because we're going to keep it tight in the middle so we can make those quick passes that lead to goals and shift the defense out of position. 6 players in the box, 3 on corners and 2 on free kicks. This isn't formation specific, so you can pretty much do whatever you want, but I like to keep it pretty low key because the last thing I want is to send too many players up and then get counterattacked. And it's so easy to get counterattacked now. I feel like you make one mistake and then boom, through ball, goal, game over. Coming up next, not only do I have the player instructions, but the players that I like to use and that you should use if you actually want to win games. And trust me, it works. Last year when we switched from old gen to next gen, I was only getting like 6 to 7 wins in champs, but now because of these tactics, I get 18 to 20. Starting with the goalkeeper, since everyone is going to try to abuse the aerial plus meta, you're going to come for crosses and play sweeper keeper. And you might be thinking, oh, what happens if he goes too far? Trust me, he won't. The worst that happens is the goalkeeper runs out and absolutely bodies the striker because goalkeepers win everything this year. But it's still the most subjective position in Ultimate Team, but if you actually want to win games, you have to use someone who's at least 6'3", which sadly takes Yashin, Lloris, and Casillas out of the mix and makes Czech and Van der Sar your best 2 options. And since Czech is an SBC, he's extremely cheap. Moving on to the right back, you're going to stay balanced on everything except run type, which you're going to change from mixed attack to overlap. And you're probably thinking, why? And it's because if you send the right back on a run and play the ball to your center mid, you can create a really good scoring opportunity every time by just playing it over the top. But the thing is, you don't just want any player at right back. You gotta look for the right backs with the right play styles because those are significantly more important than stats this year. So I like my right backs to have either the technical or long ball playstyle plus. So let's take a look at João Cancelo for example. Long ball plus, silver technical with good pace and dribbling, he's a beast. And sadly, I think your SBC expired, but Botley was extremely good too. Next up, both of your center backs are going to stay on default because the last thing you want a center back to do is join the attack. They should sit right here the whole game, unless it's a corner or something, and hold it down. And if we're being honest, I don't even like to defend with them because it's so easy to pull them out of position. If you take one step in the wrong direction, the guy you're playing against is just going to send the striker on a run and there's nothing you can do about it. But with that being said, I only really like to use tall center backs with the aerial plus, and Bisek is the only exception. So players like Renard, Ta, and Konate are class since it's the only real way to defend against the aerial plus meta. Moving on to the left back, unlike your right back, you're going to stay back while attacking and overlap because you really don't want this guy to join the attack. But if he does, as long as he runs on the outside, it's okay. But since he's not joining the attack that often, I like my left backs to be really good defensively with the whipped pass playstyle. And you might be thinking, why? But it's because since I attack down the right side so much, a couple times a game, I'll go down the left side, and since Drogba is my striker, I can fire in a whipped pass and it's a really easy chance at goal. So let's take a look at someone like Davies and Bompastor. They're both good enough to stay back and lock down the wingers, but with 90 plus passing and the whipped ball playstyle, you can really catch some people off guard. Now moving into the midfield, I like to break down the midfield into 3 different positions because each player is going to be used completely different. This guy lurks in the middle and distributes long balls throughout the pitch. This guy is more box to box. I'll send him on runs sometimes, but he mainly just distributes the ball to the attackers. And this guy on the left is the most attacking of all the 3. He sits on the outside of the box and joins the attack. That being said, starting off with the center mid, that sounds weird. The central center mid is going to stay back while attacking and cover center. This allows him to hold down the formation on defense because we do some weird stuff, which I'm going to explain later. But by far the most important thing I look for in this center mid is someone with the long ball pass. pass. And I mean everyone. Like, we even used Wharton in Team of the Season champs just because he has the play style and we were desperate, okay? But let's take a look at Kevin De Bruyne or the new Toni Kroos. I love Kevin De Bruyne because he has every good passing play style plus and it's always on point. Pinged pass is super underrated too. 99 passing is dope, but trust me, the play styles matter more. And I can't wait for that Toni Kroos because our Kevin De Bruyne is tradable and we just want some coins, okay? But he's free, 99 passing, 4 play styles, and all of the passing ones over here. Come on now. In terms of tactics, your right center mid is going to be the same as your center mid, so he's going to stay back while attacking and cover center. The only difference is he's on the right side during the attack, so he'll stay a little higher up, but not a ton. But he'll make good runs, so we like that. And he's not just any center mid, he's box to box. So I really like to use players that are all around solid and have the pinged pass or technical plus play style. So Havertz and Rolfo are perfect here. The pinged pass is dope because it allows you to fit passes into really tight windows that nobody else can make. But technical is also really good because it allows you to create passing lanes because you move really fluid. And the last player in the midfield is the left center mid, and he's completely different than any other player in the midfield. Mainly because he's going to stay balanced on the attack and cover wing on defense, which is going to make more sense once we get to the right forward tactics. But I really like players that are attacking at this position. And it doesn't even have to be a midfielder, it can be an attacker too. Like, we used George Best for the longest time because he was just so shifty and fast. Let's take a look at Messi too. Like, gold Messi is only 40k, and if you put him into the incisive pass evo, he gets incisive pass and technical plus, which are both amazing. And since he's so shifty, he's just going to be able to open up those passing lanes and make insanely good passes from this position. If I was on a budget, I would definitely do something like that. Moving on to the striker, your striker is going to play just like every other striker. Stay central and get in behind. Get in behind allows him to stretch the defense and keep them on their toes because a lot of people like to press, but if they step too high, you can just move them around, play it through, and score an easy goal. And my favorite kind of striker is someone who's explosive but versatile, if that makes sense. Some players just have the it factor, which is why I really like Mbappe, Werner, or Drogba. And I honestly don't even want to be the aerial plus guy, but for 400,000 coins, Drogba is insane. All I'm saying is there's a reason why almost every pro player in the E-Champions League had Drogba up top, and it's not for his passing. He wins headers over everyone, and he just has so much aura. That's just different, but players like R9 and Mbappe are really good here too. Moving on, your left forward is going to be really different. He isn't going to stay central, but he is going to get in behind. Same thing as before, you want to hold the other player accountable because if he steps too high, you can score an easy goal. But the type of player that you're going to use at left forward is not like your striker. Your left forward is going to be tall with the aerial plus, and I mean like tall, like Haaland, Sorloth, Giroud tall. And here's why. One of the most overpowered mechanics in the game is the lofted cross. All it takes is L1 or LB and cross. You've probably seen pro players do this, but if you just take the ball down the line or just whip it in from the side with L1 or LB and cross towards the back post, you're going to win it pretty much every time because you're going up against their right back, which makes it an easy goal because you can either pass it across or go for the header right away. And lastly, we have the right center forward who is going to get in behind and come back on defense. This is what I told you was going to be kind of weird, but it's all in the tactics and you don't have to do anything because your right forward dropping back on defense is the sole reason it's possible to defend in a 4-4-2 and stop the counterattack. I like to keep this player similar to my striker, just really explosive and fast. And you can even use a winger here if you can get him on chemistry, because most of the time you're just taking people down the line or receiving a quick pass and getting a shot off, so really explosive. Yeah. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and click here to learn how to make millions of coins.